activists accused German firms over Uyghur forced labor. Berlin, rights groups announced on Monday that they had filed a criminal complaint in Germany against 5 businesses, including C&A, Lidl, and Hugo Boss, alleging that they profited from forced labor among China's Uyghur people. After conducting an open-source study, the European Centre for Constitutional and Human Rights, ECCHR, announced that it had filed the case, which also targeted the 2 grocery chains Aldi Nord and Aldi Süd. Civil society organizations struggled to acquire concrete evidence of the abuse, according to Miriam Saage-Maass of the ECCHR, but there was enough for prosecutors to investigate further. She stated that there was a plethora of evidence indicating that forced labor was taking place. The question is if entertaining economic partnerships isn't a form of complicity in international crimes, she said. The 5 businesses have declared they're supplying factories from Xinjiang, the Chinese area at the center of forced labor claims, publicly and voluntarily, according to Saage-Maass, but they could only represent the tip of the iceberg. We believe that those 5 are merely a sign of a serious and more systemic issue, she said. She reminded out that Chinese cotton accounted for 20% of global production, with Xinjiang producing 80% of it. As a result, it's extremely likely that many more enterprises are sourcing from the region, she added. When contacted by AFP, fashion retailer C&A denied purchasing any items made in Xinjiang. It also stated that it does not get yarn or fabric from the area. Hugo Boss, meanwhile, dismissed the ECCHR's concerns. It claimed that its values and standards were followed in the creation of our items, and there were no legal infractions. The ECCHR's charges were directed at Turapon Jinping Knitting, according to the Aldi Group, although it said it had stopped buying anything from the company since the end of 2019. Lidl too said the allegations are based on old supplier lists and are related to past orders or periods. In Xinjiang, where analysts estimate over 1 million people are detained in camps, the US claims Beijing is committing genocide against Uyghurs and other largely Muslim Turkic people. After years of upheaval, Beijing denies genocide and describes the camps as vocational training centers aimed at directing people away from radicalism. Uyghurs say they are being forced to renounce religious traditions. Last year, several large consumer companies, including Uniqlo, H&M, Nike, and Adidas, stated that they would no longer buy cotton from the region, prompting demands for boycott in China. The ECCHR's move follows similar action in France. 4 fashion companies, including Uniqlo and the owner of Zara, were accused of profiting from Uyghur forced labor by French magistrates in July. The lawsuit stems from a complaint filed in April by the anti-corruption organization Sherpa, the Clean Clothes Campaign's French branch, and the Uyghur Institute of Europe, as well as a Uyghur lady detained in a Xinjiang camp.